Welcome back to another edition of the Sports Take Atlanta Seed Talk. I'm your host, Sterling Mack. Taylor, typically on the other side, he will join later in the week. Wanted to pump out something here to start the year off and get us going. Crazy. It's 2026. I cannot believe that. Yeah, getting older is strange, and time flies. I'll just leave it at at that. But hope you had a great holiday season. We're able to see family and do some things. I was able to just recently see some old IU friends at the Rose Bowl. What an amazing scene that was to be able to be um, in Pasadena with all these Hoosiers and to rattle off 38 points against obviously not the same Bama that we've known over the last decade or so. But anytime you see the name Alabama across the jersey, it means something. And 38 points, 38-3. What a performance by the Hoosiers. Shout out to Kurt Signetti, Mendoza, and the crew. Truly, it was such an amazing time. And now it feels like my body took a few days to get back to normal after that. um, and now we're back. We're back to the grind here early 26. So, um, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to. Did not mean to have that banner going there, but yeah, excited to really just kind of get back to it. We'll talk a little. Yeah, well, honestly, I'll just kind of talk a little Falcons and some Hawks, and then we'll do a normal kind of podcast later in the week, and then we should have AJ and Wasu, who we're gonna record with earlier, kind of during the holiday season, like right before Christmas. There ended up not connecting, so hopefully we'll get him on here in the next week and get that out for everybody. Again, we'll try to get back to that kind of like every Tuesday kind of schedule. We'll see if we're able to stick to it just with our schedules and going from there. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, big news coming out for the Falcons, right? I mean, the fact that, yeah, I guess ultimately it feels like Arthur Blank is heading in the direction that we all as fans hope for. I'll start at the top. Rich McKay, honestly, really good dude, and he's going to stay with Arthur Blank's like AMSB. Like he's going to stay there and continue in his capacity there, but he's going to step down effective immediately as the CEO of the Falcons. Rich, honestly, is good dude. Has helped us as we kind of got Sports Tech Atlanta kind of up and going and things like that. So it's one of those things where you just need to. I think you have to start there because he's been around obviously the longest in terms of the tenure. Um, and where we are as a franchise, eight straight seasons not making the playoffs here, really have not been the same since we went to the Super Bowl in 2016. It just feels like we need a shakeup here to figure some things out. Um, then you go to Terry Fontenot, who was really good. Like he was really, I think you're going to miss in the draft at times, but to look at the roster right now with like some of the draft picks, obviously Bijan, Drake, Kyle Pitts, done pretty good. James Pierce, like on the defensive side, going out and get Jesse Bates from the Bengals a couple years ago. Like he's done a good job of figuring out this roster. Where I think it gets tough, and again, that's why I kind of started at the top, right? You just have to. I think you have to. The overall has to be it has to be total here, and bring in a new regime because the Kirk Cousins decision essentially hamstrings this organization, right? So right now, Kirk Cousins is 14% of the cap hit, um, which is huge. He'll be 18% next year. There is an out this year, right? I believe a $35 million dead cap. It's a lot of money, but they can get out from his contract. If not, you're paying him $35 million, um, plus a $12 million signing pro, plus a $10 million roster bonus. It's a $57 million hit if he's on the roster this year. Again, 18% of the cap. You're essentially hamstrung for anything you can really do. Plus, again, going back to it, I mean, you sign Kirk Cousins to this very lucrative deal coming off the Achilles injury, and then you go draft Michael Penix. Just hasn't been cohesion there at a position where you have to be incredibly strong. Um, I mean, obviously, Kirk can run the offense, but he's not dynamic in any way. And for most of the games, and I think we had a pretty easy schedule to end the season, if we're being honest as well. There's just to me, there's just no way to want to run him back out there in terms of being your starter. And then it leaves you with Penix just had surgery, right? Just had the ACL. That's another surgery for him. He went to Indiana as well. And unfortunately was injured there, ends up transferring to Washington. We know all the things, right? And so that becomes a question, like, what do you do at the quarterback position? And if you don't have a quarterback, right, you're not going to be successful in this league. And putting Matt Ryan presumably in some sort of front office role or kind of head of football operations, something along those lines, hopefully he can help us to understand who we can go figure out and get to be the quarterback. Short and long. It feels like we need a short-term solution and obviously figuring out how to bridge to a long-term solution. So hopefully Matt can help with that. I do not believe Kirk Cousins helps in the short term. I don't know what Penix is. I think when the pocket is clean, he's pretty good, but the NFL, like, the pocket's never clean. So if you're unable to move or feel comfortable moving and being elusive, not in the Lamar Cam Newton way, but in the ability to manipulate the pocket and then stay on balance and be strong with your arm, be strong with your eyes, and being able to make throws. Then I just don't know what you are as a starting quarterback in the NFL. And I feel like that's what you started to see as teams. They would play this kind of shell coverage against Penix early, kind of in the season, and then they were like, actually, we're just going to blitz you all day because you don't feel comfortable back there with an extra blitzer. Don't feel comfortable. Felt like, and maybe some of that was a Zach Robinson effect. And again, there's just once you get you get rid of Raheem, Zach's definitely not coming back. We'll see about Ulbrich on the defensive side, but maybe part of that is just the relationship with the OC, right? Maybe there was just things that he was not being taught or things were not formulated well for him. But I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to evaluate what we saw from Penix this year and obviously at the end of last year to really make a full assessment. But there's definitely a lot of questions there on, like, what is his full ability with the way the game is played today and what you need from the quarterback position. And then the head coach. I mean, listen, I think Raheem, all accounts, good dude. But this team is too talented to be the way that they were. Him not wanting to make a change at the offensive coordinator position with all the issues that were on the offense from getting the plays in, right? The fact that we were in mid-season and we're still having issues getting the plays into the quarterback in a timely manner. It says it all there. The fact that we played down to the competition. I know the Dolphins did play hard throughout the end of the season there, so that should be commended with all the things that they were going through. But to lose to them the way that the fact that there's twice, who obviously are just not like an amazing team, even though you have the same record as them. The Jets loss is absolutely confounding and I think ultimately leads to this dismissal. I just think there's too many times where I think football is an interesting optics game. When you're wearing capris and like the optics look certain ways in terms of like your chumminess with other players and um the inability I think to be aggressive at times like you want a football coach, you know what I mean? And I just think the optics of him at times were maddening for fans. I know players really rallied around him after the game Sunday, and which is awesome. Again, all accounts, awesome dude. But I just think the optics never helped Raheem over the last couple years with fans, and again, some of those losses are just too hard to swallow in order to move forward. So we'll see. I mean, I think Stefanski, McCarthy are going to be kind of top of mind. We'll, if LaFleur gets let go from the Packers, he would be, I think, welcomed very quickly back to Atlanta. We'll see. Let's hope that there's. I'm not a big like Cliff Kingsbury guy, even from an OC perspective. So I hope the Falcons don't go that way. I don't think that's something they need to do. But we'll see. We'll see as more. I'm recording this at 8 o'clock Pacific time, so we'll see kind of what transpires in the coaching carousel and who's available for the Falcons. I think they want to move fast. They should move fast. You want to get a line quickly here. Like I said, I think the biggest thing is the quarterback position. No first round draft pick this year due to the trade, which the trade seems to kind of worked out, right? Even though you don't have a pick this year, so I don't think that's the worst thing, but yeah, we'll see what they do here. Let's talk Hawks. It's again, I just talked about optics are tough, man. Anytime in sports, optics are tough. It's kind of like it's like the Shea thing. Like Shea's really good offensively, but his optics are awful, and so it's hard to watch him, right? I use Shea as like an example there just to kind of give you where I'm kind of going because the optics for Trae are tough. They've always been tough. I've started to come more around in terms of defending him because I think he gets too much of the blame. But again, sports are optics, and Trae, like to put it nicely, does not play defense, right? But on top of that, I've said this for a long time, and I think I'm going to try to do it succinctly here again. The other thing that's really difficult to see, and I felt this way, and I think what's difficult too with this take is that like guys haven't panned out. Cam Reddish obviously didn't pan out, and he wanted to get out of Atlanta. A couple years into being there. Herders, he had a good year, or like he had half a good year with the Kings, but then now he's like, with the Bulls, and just kind of like an average basketball player. Bogey has gone to the Clippers, and Olympic bogey and NBA bogey feel to be two different things, right? And so you feel like he's Deontay Murray, obviously not doing a ton there, hurt and all the things. So like you just feel like he hasn't played with a ton of great guys, right? On one side, in the moment you're like, oh, maybe they could be something more if they had more of an opportunity. The difficult thing now is that you're seeing a team that is built pretty well around him, especially when Porzingis plays, and I'll get to that in a second. But Nickeil Alexander-Walker has taken a major leap, and you just see it, like guys like him, Dylan Brooks. When you're in a different situation, like guys can score, man. Like you're not in the NBA because you can't. For most guys, like you can put the ball in the basket. The question is how efficiently and effectively can you do that night in, night out, possession by possession. That's when how opportunities kind of happen, or more opportunities kind of happen in the NBA, right? But Nickeil has been unbelievable. Obviously, what Jalen Johnson can do offensively, night in, night out. And then to be honest, like Dyson Daniels needs the ball. He's obviously he can't shoot from the outside, but he can get to the basket. He's got a little floater, and he makes really good decisions with the ball. I think the tough thing is because he can't shoot. That he gets kind of like that Draymond treatment where they just back off, but he's so adept. He's got a really good spin move of getting into the lane and then can finish, right? Can lay it up, can switch hands, can do different things down there. And then that really plays into the team. Oneka has really developed from the outside, offensively, right? As like a stretch. He's really a stretch four, but obviously has to play out of position, especially because Porzingis hasn't been healthy. And so that's the tough thing when Trae comes back. And I think he's really tried to like integrate and to not be so ball in it. It's just tough. The optics of like what he does on the floor, what he's really good at, right, is playing pick and roll, playing in transition offensively, and shooting the ball, right? Those are the things he really, really excels at. The tough thing is like the connectivity, and it's only a few games, right? Since he's really been able to be back and then he got hurt again. Is the connectivity, right? And the team just seems to be more connected when he's not on the floor. Again, optics. Part of it's optics, but the other part is the results of it, right? The Hawks had won like 9 of 12 before he came back, then they lose 5 straight. And they win a couple games here against some tough teams. One of them culminating in that blowout against the Timberwolves. And so I just don't know. I mean, obviously, as the trade deadline approaches here, do the Hawks make that move? I mean, there's been some rumblings now that Trae is available, and probably has been. There's some stuff like a year ago trying to get him to the Spurs or the Lakers. And so we'll see. I think if you're looking at it objectively, I do think you probably build around Jalen Johnson at this point. But I'm also of the essence, like, you can't teach the offensive side all the time. Like, he's so dynamic offensively, but I just don't think you're ever going to get the buy-in defense. He's also just a small guy of what you need from him defensively. And so you're just like stuck there. And maybe it's just better to get off of, get off of this path and try to figure something else out, which feels like is where we are headed here. The other thing is Kristaps Porzingis, right? The Hawks play so much better when he is there. Again, it unlocks Oneka as a true kind of stretch forward, which is really what he is. He's a 6'9" forward. When Oneka is solo down there, and Mo Guy should be playing more when Kristaps is out. I don't know why he's not, but the Hawks have no rim protection. And one of their biggest issues is, at least when Porzingis is in, and he's not as athletic as he was a few years ago, but he's still 7'3", 7'4", whatever he is, right? So you're just affecting shots based upon that. And right now, like, because he's not playing so much, the Hawks just have zero, like, I mean, it's a layup line. And part of that too is, I think, the not regression. Daniel Dyson hasn't been as good on the ball. Jalen Johnson plays a little bit of defense, but a lot of times he's kind of standing straight up too. And so you're just in this weird place with, like, offensively, the Hawks are really good. But if you're giving up 2 points per possession, it's tough. When you're giving up 125 points a game, like, it's gonna be hard to beat anybody, no matter what you're doing offensively. And I think that's the other issue I think the Hawks are kind of facing, which is unfortunate. You felt like this team was going to be top 4 in the East, especially with it being a down East, and that has not happened. And so we'll see. Again, I don't know if the Anthony Davis. I said this a couple pods ago. I don't know if the Anthony Davis thing makes a ton of sense, but we'll see. So that was my Hawks Falcons take. 1-5 2026. Crazy. A couple things. Check out Open Mondays. They've got great golf apparel. Continue to follow us at our Seed Talk podcast social accounts. We post a ton of things around sports technology and quick stories, our Substack as well. And yeah, we post, like, we've got a couple things in terms of like Fanatics um and other offers out there that we've kind of partnered with, so definitely check out some of those. And yeah, continue to follow me at SteamAc, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, TikTok, all the stuff. And we'll continue to push out as much content as we can. If you're in the sports technology realm, you're looking, if you're a startup or a company, you're looking to kind of get some help, we're going to bridge some of your technology needs, check out sportstechatlanta.com, or hit us up at info@sportstechatlanta.com. Would be happy to work with you on your technology needs within sports. And like I said earlier in the pod, we'll get out another one here later this week, and then hopefully, like I said, we'll get AJ kind of scheduled over the next like 10 days or so, and hopefully get that one out for you all as well. Excited to be back, and hope everyone has a great start to the new year. We'll see you in the next edition of the Sea Talk podcast.